AFL final series about to kick off, the best time of year for footy. Unfortunately, my team's not participating this year. We're just getting a shitload of draft picks, but that's a story for another time. But we thought we'd do a video today just to do some quick footy tips for the finals this week. There's some absolute ripping games coming up. First up, Port Adelaide versus the Cats. The Power finished in second spot on the ladder, which is actually where I predicted them to finish on my ladder predictor in pre-season. I wasn't sure they would make it for a while. They were kind of up and down, but they got there in the end, and they've won their last 5 games and are showing some pretty good form. Obviously won't have Dan Houston due to the suspension, but their midfield, and you've got like Horne-Francis, Butters, Rosie, they're just made for these big games, I think. And I feel like we're going to see the emergence of the young Port Adelaide midfield brigade and take one of these games by storm, really. Aliir down back as well, doing a stellar job. Yeah, they're going to be tricky to beat at home, but the Cats, well, they just keep on keeping on. They've got some wise heads there. They've got a little bit of injection of youth as well. We've got someone like Max Holmes, who's had a really good year. Ollie Dempsey, who warmed into the year quite nicely. He probably had a couple of down patches earlier in the year, but the back half of his year, from what I saw anyway, it looked quite good. Jeremy Cameron, a ripping year. Obviously very hard to do without Tom Hawkins by his side, or Tom Hawkins wasn't in the best of form when playing, but he is just on a different level, Jeremy Cameron. So I expect him to be a bit of a handful for the Power. But I think Port Adelaide are going to prevail in this one. They're playing at home is a big advantage. They've just got too much class through the midfield, too much pace, too much skill, and I just think their midfield might get on top. I'll go the Power by about 22 for that one. Next game on the Friday night, the Bulldogs versus the Hawks. This is an absolute ripper of a game. I'm actually disappointed they're playing each other because I really thought both these teams were the informed teams of the comp, and I would have liked to have seen them play someone else each just to cause a few upsets. The Hawks have obviously achieved something that not many teams have achieved, starting the season 0-5, I think it might have been, and storming home to make finals. But their form in the last month and a bit has been very, very impressive. They're enjoying their football, or hockball, whatever they want to call it, and you can clearly see that they are in a very good spot. And the Bulldogs, they're an interesting side. I think when we talked about them in our ladder predictor at the start of the year, I think I said they could finish anywhere from 5th or 6th all the way down to about 11th or 12th. It just depended on which Bulldogs team turned up. I was a little bit sceptical about Beveridge's coaching moves earlier in the year, with Caleb Daniel missing some games. I think Bailey Dale did as well. And there's just a few, Riley Sanders getting dropped a few times too. They just seemed a little bit unstable, but in recent times, they've really got their shit together and they're looking really good. Adam Treloar, for me, has been one of the most consistent players in the competition all year. And when he's working alongside the Bont, who just operates at a different level altogether, they are a very, very tough duo to match it with. Then you got Libba, who's a good extractor. And they've got some good forwards with Hugo Hagan, Norton, Liam Jones down back. But the Hawks have got their stars as well. Obviously, Will Day being out is a bit of a downer for them. He's obviously proving to have a bit of spark. But Marby Troll, for me, has been the surprise packet. I've obviously watched quite a bit of Marbs, being a Richmond supporter. And the one thing Hawthorn have unlocked in him that no one else could was work rate. And he's chasing, he's tackling, he's actually doing a lot more team things. And he makes them look a lot more dangerous. So, yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how that one plays out. And Weddle off the half-back line has been super exciting to watch this year. He's got pace to burn, and yeah, I really like the way he goes about it. But for this game, I'm really torn. This is a genuine 50-50. I know that sounds very cliche, but the Dogs might just get the job done. They've just got a lot more firepower up forward. And I'm not fully convinced that Sicily's shoulder has ever recovered from that injury. I know he's played through and done a Herculean job to get his team into finals. I'm just not sure how much longer he can keep doing it. And I'm not sure if the Hawks have spent all their petrol tickets trying to get there. But this will be a ripper of a game. The Swans versus the Giants, first versus fourth. I mean, what can you say about these teams? Sydney, they started the first half of the year, they were absolutely on fire. They obviously had their struggles in the last month or so, losing a few games that they probably shouldn't have, copped a few injuries, but some of those players should be coming back in time for this final. And this is where the week off helps a team like Sydney. So it's always a very interesting argument, but for the most part of the year, they were the team to beat. And the Giants, for me at the moment, they're actually my pick to probably win the whole thing at this stage. I don't want to use the orange tsunami cliche, but when they get their game going, they are very hard to stop. Jesse Hogan has had a sensational year. I'm really wrapped for him, just given his story, where he's come from. He's had a very solid year. Cadman, this could be an interesting game for someone like Cadman, obviously very young, very raw. But could he step up in a big finals type atmosphere? It could do his confidence the world of good. Lockie Whitfield down back, one of their generals. Watch for all the play to go through him. If Sydney can lock down on someone like a Whitfield and shut him out of the game, that's going to go a long way to winning this one. And someone like Tom Green, who's gotten back to his contested best in the last month after a bit of a lull mid-year, he'll be one that the Swannies have to look out for too. But on the flip side, the Swans have got players like Goulden and Warner might be coming back. I'm not too sure what his injury status was after the calf injury. But Goulden in particular, that dude just runs all day. So it's going to be fascinating to see if they actually run with players from other teams or if they're just going to go head-to-head and just duke it out, which I'd love to see. But I've actually got the Giants winning this one in a very tight battle. And the last final is the Lions versus the Blues. The Blues obviously scraping in on the back of Port Adelaide winning that last game against Fremantle. Again, the week off might have a significant impact here in a positive way for Carlton. They've obviously got Mackay and Curnow waiting in the wings to come back as two of the main players to come back in anyway. But the Lions are in some pretty good nick. They were a team who was struggling very early on, but they always had that vibe about them. They could win 8 to 10 in a row and just come flying up at the end, which is exactly what they did. They're probably almost unlucky to miss the top 4, to be honest. Joe Danaher still very dangerous up forward. Eric Hipwood's the only one I'm not fully sold on. I just feel like that the teams who are going to go the furthest this year are going to be the teams who have got two genuine good forwards who can fire at all times. So I'm just not sure there, but they've obviously got Cam Rayner, Charlie Cameron as well from the small forward brigade, who are extremely good. Harris Andrews down back. The big O on the ruck is very dangerous. Zorko in the midfield. Lockie Neal had almost a career best season. McCluggage on the wing. So they bat deep in a lot of areas, and I think they're probably going to be a bit too talented for the Blues, and I think they might get the job done. But this week is going to be a crazy final series with a great opening week on the back of what was an unbelievable season. So keen to hear what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below who's going to win. And if you like the footy content, make sure you like and subscribe for more. Catch you for the next one.